my goal over the next year is to become the Lenny Rachitsky of marketing.
That's our dream. That's everybody's dream. We're chasing that down too. It's hard. It's hard.
Well, marketers are different. They are like, I think the Lenny thing, like when he applied it to PM, it was like interestingly underserved for that kind of content. Whereas the difference, I think, in marketing a little bit is it's overserved. And I think that's the more, it's not that it can't be done, but that's the complexity of it.
Well, but the thing is, like, you're like, oh, I think I could be Lenny in like over the next year. It's like, it took Lenny 6 years.
Totally.
Yeah. If you look at all the data, it was 5 to 6 years before he hits an inflection point. Yeah. It was a real 5-year grind.
Totally.
Which is the hard thing.
I'm actually curious about this. When you say that it's overserved, I'm curious what tells you that it's overserved.
Yeah.
Because I see a lot of marketing content, but I also think a lot of it is by non-practitioners or experts, which unfortunately is where most people building personal brand on the internet. That's most people.
Yeah, I think so. Like, what is Lenny? Because I've thought about this a lot.
Yeah.
Why is Lenny so successful?
You're trying to be LinkedIn
right?
famous right now too.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you're
yeah.
in the thick of it.
Building.
By the way, I think you're one of the few. I'll say. I would say, like, I follow a shit ton of people who talk about marketing on LinkedIn. To me, there are like 3 people who actually provide anything valuable. I think you are one of those 3 people. I also think it has to be a person's full-time job if they want to be the Lenny for marketing.
That's
the hard thing. It's the hard
100%
thing.
agree.
Yeah, so my plan is it will be my full-time job.
Yeah. And again, I think there's more likelihood that you will do it than anyone else because you actually have the skill set to do it. Like if you actually extrapolate what Lenny does, it's not like he just does the bolts and nuts of, the topic and has an incredible and laddered up to an incredible guest. But I think about why did he win? The reason he won in that first year is because he did something I thought was pretty smart. He basically just had a network and then he would ping the network and say, hey, I'm writing a topic, give me some sound bites. And everyone was like, oh shit. It's not that you weren't educating on that topic. You were actually having like real people and brands as part of the material. That's how he won in the first year, and then he rode that wave, and then he cornered the market in guests, like 100%. Every single and so he has I actually mapped it out. I actually told Lenny what he did when he came on the podcast because I thought about it so much, but it's a simplistic formula. Like it's pretty simple, but he did it to the nth degree, like you would expect a growth PM to do.
I think what matters to do what Lenny did is longevity. You have to take quality at bats for a long time.
Yeah.
Quality of network and access.
Exactly.
And then ability to synthesize.
Exactly.
If you read every essay he's written, and I think he would admit this, there's nothing truly novel in most cases. He's doing an amazing job of basically focusing on a thematic, like creating a thematic in a given essay, finding anywhere, depending on the essay, from 1 to 50 people to get their perspective. He's taking their perspective and he's synthesizing it into like the 4 or 5 things you should know with specifics from these people.
Right. And he starts with the thing that everyone actually wants to know. So he gets the thing right because he's worked the job. He's a practitioner. So like when he's like, what is a freemium app's churn rate? And then he gets 30 people he knows with known brands, and everyone is like eating that shit up. Like me, I'm eating it up because you don't usually get that. You usually just get like best practice churn rate, right?
Yep.
And so, and again, like, cause he's a growth practitioner, I really think he like tweaked the knobs really well.
Well, what's interesting here is why Alex probably has the best shot of anybody to be the Lenny for marketing is that when we had Limpkin on the pod, Alex, he was like, you two people are too smart and too deep in this shit to ever make it simple enough for everybody to understand.
This is our biggest problem.
He goes, the magic of Lenny is that he wasn't like the VP of product. He was just like a frontline PM at Airbnb. Exactly. Like he had enough of the craft to know what's going on, but he wasn't so deep in the craft that he could get lost in the craft. And when Kieran says that the marketing world is overserved with content, it's actually overserved by people being either very esoteric or very overly complicated talking about marketing things. It's very hard for folks to just like do what Hormozi's done in sales and just be like, I'm just going to say the most basic stuff 100 different ways again and again until it like drills into humans' heads, right?
You know one of my funniest Halligan stories actually is literally about this. I remember when we were trying to grow the product-led business, and it was going okay, not great. And Halligan was doing like decided to do the GM role because he really wanted that to work. So I was kind of dotted line into it for a little bit. And I remember going over and I did a presentation, and I think actually a week after I told you about this, Kip, and you corrected it for the next one. And I went in, I did this big presentation of like, here's how we're growing the business, blah, 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 blah. And I remember Halligan went out and sat out in his laptop, and I went, hey, Brian, how do you think that went? He goes, look, here's the thing. I know you're smart. It's pretty evident that you're smart. And that whole presentation was about smart stuff. I didn't understand anything you said, and that's how I think it went. I was like, oh, fuck.
That is incredible.
I get it.
But I think to that point, like the needle like that you have to thread is like, how do you make it simple enough for a lot of people to understand, but it's still valuable?
Yeah, it's still differentiated.
Right? Like basically look at something on like the way I think about business creators, by the way, in general, is like kind of like college education 101 to 501. 501 is like PhD level. 101 is your intro to econ class. I think if you're playing in the 101, first of all, there's endless competition there. You dilute your audience. Driving meaningful engagement is hard. Like I would say that's like kind of the Hormozi, or maybe Hormozi's 201. Like I would say Gary Vee is 101. I would say 301 is kind of like My First Million, or like Marketing Brew, Retail Brew, like the highest level of a given industry or function. 501 is like the SEO expert I follow on LinkedIn, who like 95% of what they're saying literally could be written in a different language and I'd understand as much. I think an intentional choice is like, where do you live? And how is it still valuable enough for people to action off of it? My view is you kind of have to live in like the 301.
Hey, YouTubers. Thanks for watching today's show. Quick stat for you. AI usage has increased by 53% since last year. How do I know that? Because I just read HubSpot's brand new AI Trends in Marketing report. This report is packed full of amazing data that not only highlights the latest in AI trends, but also shows how businesses are using AI to grow. In this report, you'll learn the top 5 AI tools across marketing. You'll learn exactly how teams are investing in AI and where they're getting the return on that investment. And maybe most importantly, you're gonna get a data-backed answer to the big question: is AI helping or hurting your marketing career? I invite you to get all of this amazing data and research for free. We spent hours on it. Grab your copy today by using the link in the description below. Now back to today's show.